So today we are at Science Summer Safari and we're on one of my favorite trips. It's our fossil trip to Brookville, Indiana. Now, I don't know if you probably didn't notice this, but we've come all the way across the state and we've gone down to the southern part of the state because this is where the oldest rocks in the state are, and they're exposed on the highway cuts. So just if you put your hands like this, here's what's happened with sediments in Indiana. These are the first sediments developed, very old, and then more sediments on top, and then more sediments on top, and then more sediments on top. And so now we have these layers of sediments. Where's the oldest? On the top or the bottom? Bottom. And so people live way up here on the top, and if there was no erosion or anything, we would never see these sediments way down here. But we're close to Cincinnati, and there's a famous underground arch. It's called the Cincinnati Arch. And from way underground, rock pushed up. And when the rock pushed up, the glaciers started cutting away, cutting away, cutting away. So here, close to Cincinnati, really old rocks are exposed. And they're called the Ordovician. In fact, this is what they look like if the ocean was still living. These are all the creatures. This is scientists and artists from the Indiana State Museum got together. And this is what it looked like in Indiana over 500 to 400 million years ago. The Ordovician Age fossils, very old. And we're going to be able to collect these. This was when Indiana was an ocean, a marine ocean, and it wasn't that deep of an ocean because we have corals, we have trilobites, cephalopods, we have bryozoan, gastropods, horned corals, some amazing things. But this is what they looked like while they were living. We don't find them like that today. What we find are the fossils. Now, a fossil, very simply, is preserved evidence of ancient life. So preserved means it was saved. Ancient means 10,000 years old, or in this case, 400, 500 million years old. And life can be plants or animal. And so that's what a fossil is. It's preserved evidence of past life. And so hopefully you're going to find something that looks like this. This is what the gastropods. Now, gastropods almost look like a snail because snails are gastropods. You might find something that looks like that. You might find something that looks like one of my favorites, the brachiopods. They look like clamshells, but they're the brachiopods. Everybody say brachiopod.
Brachiopods.
You might find this one is working to be our state fossil, the crinoid. Now, the crinoid, this is a stem, some small, some big. You found some of these yesterday or Tuesday at Morgan Monroe.
Yep.
This is an animal that lived in the ocean. There's one still living today, a related species, but this is a crinoid. Everybody say crinoid.
Crinoid.
We're trying to make the fossil of Indiana to be a crinoid, Cyanthrocrinides multibrachiotis. Try saying that. Cyanthrocrinides multibrachiotis.
Multibrachiotis.
It's a crinoid for crying out loud. Come on. Now, this one is called Bryozoa. Bryozoa means moss-covered animal. And I took this picture and put a penny in there. It's a type of coral that looks like it's covered, but a coral is an animal, not a plant. And then you might find my favorites, horned corals. Horned corals look like ice cream cones. But this is the hard part. In that first photo I showed you, all the tentacles would be coming up. They start small and they grow big. Horned corals. And then we have a cephalopod. Cephalopods are pretty rare, but they're fun to find. Cephala means head, pod, head on foot. The word pod means foot. So a gastropod, gastro means stomach. A snail is like stomach on foot. The cephalopod is head on foot. And then we have, come a little bit closer, Peter, I'm reaching. This is a Brachiopods. Looks like a giant clam. Everybody say Brachiopods.
Brachiopods.
And then we have, this one is one of my favorites, along with brachiopods, is the Trilobite. Hold that for a second, please. The Trilobite. Tri means three lobes. It's got three. These are really small. The ones we'll find down there are called Flexicalaminii miki. Try saying that.
Lexicon.
Lexicalaminimiki, or you might find some parts of one called an Isotellus gigas. They're so cool. They either come flat, like a seahorse, or completely rolled up. Hey, if you find one of those, they're not much fun. Just leave it right there and come tell me. It's called a leverite. Leave it right there and I'll pick it up, put it in my pocket.
No, I'll put it in my.
So this is what a bunch of them may look like. We don't find the whole pieces, we find all the different parts. Trilobites, horned corals, brachiopods, gastropods, cephalopods, plesiopods, colonial coral, and all kinds of cool things that we're going to find. These are Ordovician fossils. Say Ordovician.
Ordovician.
And they're waiting there just for us to find, identify, and take home. You guys excited about that?
Yeah.
Let's get started. Okay, the bus is here at my favorite Science Summer Safari fossil site in Brookville, Indiana. And you guys are sitting on a road cut. Now, a road cut means that this hill that used to be here, the highway department came through many, many years ago and cut it out with bulldozers and moved all this fossil rock out of here, all this limestone. But it left behind this road cut or exposed surface. So you're standing on the bottom of an ocean right now, an Ordovician Age ocean. And all of these animals have been preserved. They're evidence of past life. Now, most of them died, but millions of them have been preserved right here. These are all extinct animals, and you can see as you look up the hill, there's hard limestone and then mud, and then limestone and mud, and limestone and mud. And you're going to find fossils in all of these. Let me take a look at this piece right here. Let me see that piece. For example, here is a beautiful piece of limestone that's filled with brachiopods, horned corals, plesiopods, crinoids. I turn it over. There must be 5,000 fossils right here. Or sometimes you might find a piece that's all by itself, that's already been eroded out, probably a brachiopod. This is Brachiopod City. Brachiopods are so cool. So just a couple rules. Remember, don't go on the road. Number 2, you're on a hill, so climb up, keep your belly to the hill up, belly to the hill down. Number 3, those that choose to hammer must have goggles. And if you're hammering, someone next to you has to have goggles also. Next, be careful, don't fall. Falling's not allowed. I don't want to get blood all over these fossils, do you? No. So keep your belly to the hill on the way up and the way down. And there will be some tumbling buckets, but be really careful not to let a rock fall down. These are really sharp and old fossils. So good luck, guys. Look for brachiopods, plesiopods, gastropods, cephalopods, horned corals, and crinoids, for crying out loud. And if you find a trilobite, leave it right there. I'll come get it. You guys ready to go fossil hunting?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So we've been a few minutes here at Science Summer Safari, Wayne Township at Brookville, and you can see we got 2 types of fossil hunters. Those that like to sit and pound on a rock all day, and those like to search the surface. And here we got Tor, you found a
Horned coral.
horned coral and another horned coral and brachiopod. And what did you find? It's got a stomach on its foot called a gastropod. Hold it in your hand so we can get a good picture of it. Hold it flat. Nice. There's a gastropod, and take a look at your brachiopods. And let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that horned coral. Another horned coral. And this has only been like 5 minutes. So we got rock smashers and surface finders. Which, your choice. And then we got the lone paleontologist down there searching for a new discovery. Good luck, everybody. Keep on hunting. So we're finished our fossil hunt at the Ordovician on Super Summer Science Safari. And so now let's take a look at what you found. I see some great treasures here. What is that, do you think?
It's a bivalve.
A bivalve, a brachiopod, yeah. And there's another brachiopod. And this is a coral. This is called encroaching coral. Now each one of these are a different species. And now yours had a hole in it, and there's a little bit of calcite and crystals are gone in here. And I got a horned coral, And this is a mudstone. We call that a friendship rock with a hole in it. Make a necklace, give it to somebody. And this one has to be the giant horned coral the whole time. Check that out, guys. Look how big that is. Let me see your hammer for a second. See, this is stuck inside of a piece of limestone, but if I hit it on the side like this, I can start to crack it out, and you can get the actual, because it's a little bit harder, and it starts to crack out. And then that one is like, that's pretty cool. Horned coral. 450 million years old. That's a treasure. You got Bryozoan, Brachiopod, Bryozoan. Hand that one right here. Look at this one, guys. Check this out. Here is a piece of limestone. It has about 20 different types of fossils in it. Brachiopods, Bryozoan, Crinoids. And see these little cube-shaped rusted things? That's fool's gold. Pyrite right there. Check that out. See the pyrite on there? See how it sparkles in the... Oh, you found a crinoid. So today, I see horned corals, and you take a look through all these kids and everything they found. They found a lot of treasures. If I was you, I would find one or two big rocks like this. Wow! Look at that. Another horned coral and brachiopods, bryozoan, plesiopods. Turn it over, a whole other hundreds of different fossils. We have on our science summer safari guidebook, there's all the kind of guides that we can find out what each of these are. Make sure everybody grabs a piece like that, a piece like that to study, and let's head on back.
Mr. Crosslin.